Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And the next project 6, translation strategy. Translation strategy. What is meant by the translation strategy here is tactic translator to translate word or group of words, or maybe a full sentence if the sentence can be broken down anymore into smaller units to translate. In the literature of translation, the translation strategy is called the translation procedure. The word procedure means formal sequence, by therefore the word strategy was chosen to be used here. Following are some of the translation strategies that are shared into 3 main types. First is the strategy with regard to sentence structure. The strategies are for the most part mandatory done because if not, the result of the translation will be unacceptable, structural, inside, or very possible unnatural. This type called structural strategy. The second type is a direct strategy related to the meaning of the word being translated. This is called strategy semantic. The third type of pragmatic strategy, which is related to the message in the translated sentence. 1. Structural strategy. There are 3 basic strategies relating to structural problems: addition, subtraction, and transposition. A. Addition. Addition, here is the addition of word in because the structure does so. Addition of this type is not a matter of choice but a necessity. As an example, consider the following. I am teacher. I am a teacher. In the example above, the word I am and a must be added for sake structure acceptability. In the following example, the word do must also be added for the same reason. I didn't think you could come today. I don't expect that you can come today. Changing the adjective location in non-phrase and changing from the plural to singular or vice versa must offer translator. An example is unfollow. Musical instruments can be divided into 2 basic groups. In the example above, there are adjectives into non-phrase musical instruments, and 2 basic groups are changed. In the English, an adjective that functions as an explaining element must be ahead of the explained. For many things, language Indonesian has a GM law, explained and explained. So the location of the adjective must be changed. This change can be illustrated as follows. Musical instrument, 2 basic group, 2 basic group. B. Subtraction. Reduction means the reduction of structural elements inside, as with addition. This reduction are must consider the following example. You shall go home. You had to go home. Her husband is an engineer. Her husband is an engineer. In the example above, the structural element word is the verb go, and is subtracted from. C. Transposition. Sentence. Unlike the 2 previous strategies, transposition can seen as a necessity or as a choice. Transposition is a must If without this strategy, the meaning of is not delivered. Transposition becomes an option if the transposition is done for reason of linguist style only. That is, without any transposition, the meaning of can be expected by text readers. The most frequent transposition done for this second reason. D. Modulation. There are typical transposition examples also known as modulation. Modulation is a strategy for translating phrase, clause, or sentence. Here the translator views the message in the sentence from different angles or different ways of thinking. Newmark, 1988. This strategy is used if the translation of word with meaning literal does not produce a reasonable or flexible translation. Pay attention to the following example. I broke my leg. Kakiku patah. In the example above, the translator views the matter from the object, which is feet, is not in terms of the eye. Though this perspective is a must because the structure of the Indonesian language is indeed will so. And the next step 2, semantic strategy. This semantic strategy is a translation strategy carried out by considering the meaning. This strategy is in operation at the level of words, phrase, or clause, or sentence. Semantic strategy consists of the following strategy. A. Charger, borrowing. Levis art translation strategy that carry the word into text, so the translator simplifies up the existing word. Therefore, this strategy is called Levish. One of the reasons the use of this strategy is to show appreciation against that word. Another reason is that he hasn't made equivalent in Levis can include transliteration and naturalization. Transliteration is a translation strategy keep the word in text, whether sound or his writing. B. Cultural equivalent. With this strategy, the translator uses the distinctive word in to reflect typical word in words. The main thing that needs to be helpful, the distinctive word of culture will be reflected with the word also typical, because in the culture of language, which culture from another language, much like this strategy cannot wait for the accuracy of meaning. For example, consider a sentence or quote. Minggu depan, Jaksa Agung Andi Galik akan berkunjung ke Swiss. Next week, the Attorney General Andi Galip will visit Switzerland. In the example above, the Attorney General is translated as Attorney 17 General in English, not Great Attorney. C. Descriptive equivalent and compound analysis. As reflected in its name, this equivalent trees describe the meaning of function of the word. Newmark, 1988. This strategy is done because the word is very related to distinctive culture and the use for cultural equivalent cannot be felt profit the desired degree of accuracy. Another strategy that is very similar to this descriptive equivalent is conventional analysis. Here a word is translated into by deciding the component of the meaning of the word. Is it caused by the absence of the one-on-one equivalent, and meanwhile translator assumes that the reader needs to know the real meaning. D. Synonym pen. Translator can also use the word more or less sum for words that are general when reluctant. 17.8. Using compound analysis. This strategy was taken because of the analysis componential perceived to be able to disrupt the flow of sentence. Neymar Nancy 88. Consider the following example. What a cat baby you've got. Alangkah lucunya bayi Anda. In the in the example above, cute translated to funny. Cute and funny are just synonyms. Cute indicates small size, good look or beauty, and attractiveness to play with. Meanwhile, funny only shows that the child is interesting her to be invited to play alone. 1. Structural strategy. There are three basic strategies relating to structure problem: addition, subtraction, and transposition. A. Addition. Addition, here is the addition of word in because the structure does so. Addition of this type is not a matter of choice but a necessity. As an example, consider the following. I am teacher. I am a teacher. In the example above, the word I am and a must be added for sake structure acceptability. In the following example, the word do must also be added for the same reason. I didn't think you could come today. I don't expect that you can come today. And the next the 3. Pragmatic strategy. Strategy pragmatic are as follows. A. Changing the clarity of meaning. The second pragmatic strategy is the change in clarity of the statement. With this strategy, the meaning is made either more explicit, called exploitation, or more implicit, called implication. Customers 1997. See the following example. The police officer will help the woman. Polwan akan membantu ibu-ibu. On this example, police officer are changed to police one. Here it is example of exploitation. This type of polish was made more explicit. B. Addition and suppression of information. Unlike the addition through structural strategy, this addition information is done because of clarity consideration means. Here the translator enters addition information inside his translate text because he argues that the reader does need it. Consider the following example. The skin width is hard and scaly is grayish in color, thus helping to camouflage it from predator when underwater. Jadi kulitnya yang keras dan bersisik berwarna abu-abu. Dengan demikian kulit ini membantunya berkamuflase, menyesuaikan diri dengan keadaan lingkungan untuk menyelamatkan diri dari predator, hewan pemangsa jika berada dalam air. Jadi, so in the example above, camouflage and predator are called to in addition, additional information about as the term biology is also given. That addition is adjusting yourself with the state of the environment and predator animal. C. Changing interpersonal relationship. The third pragmatic strategy is relationship change interpersonal. Changing the relationship between the reader and the reader can done by changing the level of formality, the level of involvement, reader's choice of technical term. Example, this article will discuss democracy in developed countries. Jadi kita akan membahas demokrasi di negara-negara maju di dalam tulisan ini. So in the example above, the relationship between the reader and the readers is in the text field distant or impersonal by using we. Relationship 17.5 is the come closer. D. Changing illocation. The next pragmatic strategy is to change illocation. Change illocation refers to change in speech. For example, from statement be a request. Example, it is too late. It's not good for me to be here. Malam telah larut, bolehkah saya pulang? So in the example above, the translation change the statement be a request for permission. A. Changes the confession of information. The fifth strategy is changing the confession of information. The strategy called the change of Sheherns by Chatterman 1997 and by Neymark is classified or as a transvoice. This type includes solving one sentence becomes two or more sentence and vice versa. Neymark 1988. In English, a sentence can consist of some of the clauses and their meaning are still clear. A partial translation. The sixth pragmatic strategy is partial translation or not translate word or sentence in full, but summarize it. Here the information contents are still the same. And G. Change the translator visibility. The next strategy is to change the translation visibility. Translator can make themselves more visible or hidden in various ways. For example, by adding footnotes and explanation in parentheses. Thus, the reader, the target is to know that the translator includes the result of thought in his translation work. He translating. The pragmatic strategy is translating. This is done by first editing the text and then the translate. This was done because the quality of text was very poor. Adaptation. The last strategy is adaptation or adaptation. With the strategy, message can be changed to suit the target audience. Translation of novel originally intended for adults, as being a novel for children, is also an example of this strategy. This type of translation certainly involves changing the choice of words, complexity of expression. If we look at the pragmatic strategy, they are getting to the back is increasingly difficult to say if we translate 17.7 refers to the conventional definition of translation. Until it reaches the lowest degree of translation is the adaptation strategy.